Good evening. So now we're going to say, my God, now we're going to see him again. Well, we want to take a closer look at the following things today of what actually happened in the German parliament today and what this means for the to assess the full political situation in Germany for the Christian Democrats primarily, with the way the members of the parliament of the CDU voted or didn't vote, and what this means. And we're going to get a little bit into that part, and that will give us a better understanding of what we can expect. I think if I got this now correct, the next election is on the 23rd of February. Yesterday I said in the video that this would be on the 26th, but it is I think it's the 23rd if I understood that correctly. Now, I want to give you an example on how this worked here in the United States. Just so we can do a similarity comparison here between Germany, the state of the overall political system, and what we got going here with Mr. Trump and his fellows up here in Washington, D.C. at the moment. Mr. Trump nominated Pete Hegseth as the defense secretary, and that has to be confirmed by the Senate, so the Senate has to vote. And here we had a similar event happening when it came to that vote, to vote for Pete, was that 3 senators, Republican senators, did not vote for him. They actually voted no. That was Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, and the other lady from Alaska. I forgot her name now. These 3 voted no. That gave him a 50-50 tie with the senators. So the vice president had to come in and vote for Pete, and it gave him the 51% majority they needed to confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. That was one of those things. And the explanation of why the 3 didn't vote for him was that Mitch McConnell had reservations about the, allegations about sexual misconduct and this, that, and the other thing. And the other 2 ladies were about in the same direction going for that. And another story which is very similar to this and shows you really on how screwed up this whole thing is. In 2008, when Obama was elected, he came in and he wanted to give every American health insurance, which we know in America as Obamacare. And the first thing, and that was enacted, I think, by 2010 it was, and the Republicans were in the minority in both in the Senate and in the House at that time. But the Republicans then went out and they told every voter in America that they're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. So from the minute Obamacare became law in 2010 until I think it was either 2018 or 2019 when the Republicans had the majority in the House and the Senate, 2018. Then it finally came to a vote, and they brought it up on the floor to repeal and replace Obamacare. And the interesting thing is this. So they put up a piece of legislation, introduced it. I think it was in the House, in the Senate first. And then they had to vote 4 times. So they did the first version of this bill. That didn't yield a majority in the Republican majority in the Senate. The explanation was 2, 3, 4 Republican senators could not vote for this particular version of it because of the state they live in and run for office. This could get them not re-elected. So a second version was introduced where now these 3, 4, 5 senators could vote for this, who could vote on the first version. But then, miraculously, we had another 4 or 5 senators, then different senators, who said they couldn't vote for that version because of the state they were in. Then a third version came and the same story evolved, and other senators couldn't vote for it because of the state they were in. And then the fourth version came in, and then even less senators could vote for it. So it never passed. Obamacare got never replaced or repealed and replaced by the Republicans. It was all bullshit. Just as simple as it is. Just said you understand American politics. So for all of these years, for 7, 8 years, we listened to here in America, every Republican ever running for any House or Senate seat was telling the American voter that he would go out or she would go out and repeal and replace Obamacare. And in the end, when it finally came to that point, to these 5 hours of voting, nothing got done. So we're kind of used to this, if you ask me. I don't want to get into the details of Obamacare and how good or bad it is. It's out of the question. Now let's take a look at this of what happened there today in Germany, in Berlin, at the parliament, at the Bundestag. The majority, they vote, Friedrich Merz, pushed the thing through to get to a vote. But then in the end, 12 Christian Democrats did not vote. They didn't oppose it. And that is a very questionable behavior. Usually in Germany, we have something what we call Fraktionszwang. And that is sort of what here in America, the majority or minority whip usually does, is to get the people, of his party in line, either in the House or in the Senate, when they're in the meetings, meeting behind closed doors. They haggle this whole thing out on how they're going to vote as a group, and then collectively they should vote. That should have happened with Pete Hegseth, but it didn't because Murkowski and Mitch McConnell and that other lady, they bailed out on them, basically. Happens here too. Now, normally you can vote in the parliament yes, no, or you can abstain. But you also, the only time you usually cannot vote is when you're basically not present. Here in the United States is that we have a quorum, and when they're voting, they usually vote, they have 10 minutes or so allocated, and then after 10 minutes, the Speaker of the House or the Speaker of the Senate will call the vote, they count the tally, and then they have some extra time, and the Speaker will ask the members if they still would like to change their vote, or if they have not voted, if they still would like to vote. So they're being encouraged. There's extra time allocated for this very particular reason of what we had. Normally, what they do here in the United States is say like a senator or a congressman is sick and they cannot physically attend the vote, then they usually send a delegate. They delegate a member of their office to the Senate who then casts that vote on their behalf. And usually the Senate, the Speaker of the House or the Speaker of the Senate is notified of that circumstance in the first place, so that we do not have a vote of not present, basically what that means. In the Bundestag, apparently, they don't have to do this. So what we were told today was that out of the 12 Christian Democrats which did not vote, they did not vote yes, no, or abstain, they were basically not present. That's how you have to look at this. And the normal circumstances in this is this, if they're sick, from what I understand. So we were told today that some of these 12 people, not all of them, some were sick. That means others were present, but they were not present, or they did not cast their vote even though they were present. And that is something we want to take a closer look at. Out of those 12 people, I could not tell you who was sick and who wasn't sick. Or who had called in sick, better, so to speak, that they would not be physically present at that vote in the Bundestag. Out of those 12 people, the interesting thing is this. there is 8 females and 4 males. 2 of them are from Baden-Württemberg, from my state basically. One is a lady from the district of Tübingen, and Tübingen is a university city, and that is always deep green, I would say, at least. So she did not vote, and then the other one was from the Swabian Alp area, more located east towards, Bavaria on the other side of it. That man did not vote either. So that's 2 of them from Baden-Württemberg. One was from Saxony and the other one was from Thuringia, a lady. And then the other remaining ones, 8, were all from North Rhine-Westphalia, various different districts there. And that is the interesting thing, is because Friedrich Merz himself is also from the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And so here we can see that there was a group of a state, because our party is organized on the federal level, and then on the state level we have state chapters, then 4 districts in case of Baden-Württemberg. We have 4 districts, and then by county level and city level or town level. That's kind of the hierarchy within the political party itself, just to explain this a little bit. And that is the interesting part, where these people came from, these officially elected officials, you can say it either way, came from. What this tells me is that these people either conspired or had the same reasoning as the senators had here with the repeal of Obamacare, is that they thought if they would vote, they may have a chance of not getting re-elected in their district, because like with that lady from Tübingen, that this is predominantly green and she is a Christian Democrat, that this could shift the seat of, her seat over the next election to a member of the Green Party, for instance. And that's why she probably reasoned that it might have been better not to vote at all, not to get involved. And she can go back to her district now as an example and tell her constituents, that, well, I did not vote at all because of this thing with the AfD, that they had the support for this stuff and this, that, and the other thing. But we can see here we have now a similar situation politically as with the here what we have in the United States, between Germany and the United States, even though we have 2 different systems of a republic in place, where you have a parliamentary system in Germany. And what the other similarity, what we're seeing here, is on how the parties, especially the Green Party, the Left Party, and the Social Democrats, have chastised the AfD, is trying to get them politically isolated. This is like, your mom saying, bad, don't do this, no, bad party, don't vote for them, bad party. And this is exactly the same what I've said 2 years ago, when you look through my videos here on this channel, is with Trump. What happened was, with all the legal actions the Democrats were using against Trump, with the classified documents, with this case there in New York and the other thing, and the interference in the election and all of this stuff, which have now evaporated into nothing. What this does, when a party does this, I think I called it I forgot it now, what I called it. It's, well, you can see it in the video charts here. If I remember that, I will mention it. Is basically, I can't remember it, sorry. Has been a long day, and I got a lot of work I had to take care of today. But anyway, I'm a little bit mentally fatigued at this moment. But basically, it is the same thing. So what the Democrats actually accomplished with saying, well, Trump bad, bad, Trump bad, same thing. AFD bad, don't vote for them. Trump, oh, no good, don't vote for him. They have basically created Trump as a hero to a lot of people. All of these people who don't feel included into the democratic, world of the way they see things, is the same thing people in Germany, Germans, or other people who live in Germany, feel the same way about the politics of the red-green coalition. And they don't feel included, or they're feeling excluded out of the process, even though they're not politically really active like the members of the AfD. And these people, like they did here, they voted for Trump just because of it. And this is the same thing we're going to see in Germany. So in this case, what the socialists here and the Green Party have created is basically a how should I call it? A safe haven, a safe harbor for the people who feel excluded out of society. The people who feel misunderstood or not accepted or not being heard for their wishes and their desires of what they have or what they maybe want as citizens. And they're going to vote for the AfD, the same way they voted here for Trump. And we're only 23 days basically away from this, if I got now the date correct. Then that is basically going to transpire. So it is possible that we have even more voters now, as a result of this, are going to vote for the AfD. Maybe some of them are going to vote for the Christian Democrats. But my prediction here is they're saying, I think, that the AfD right now is going to be around 20 to 21%. I think that this may even turn out to be higher. I might be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised because there is a significant portion in the population who is not happy with how the way things go politically in Germany. And they don't see, even though with what Friedrich Merz was trying to do, to demonstrate the ability that he's trying to get things done, to attract these voters to the CDU, this may not fully work out. Not because he lost that vote today, or the legislation to get that introduced there. That's not so much the issue. He wanted to, excuse me, he wanted to demonstrate that he's willing to take action. That he did twice this week. And that is more important, that people have this feeling that someone is at least trying to do something. Because when you look at the parties of the socialists and the Green Party and the Libertarians, the FDP, they have not been able to deal properly with any of this. And even though Scholz says, well, he did this and he did the other thing and he got this reduced by 1/3, and yes, but you can see they still had the issues that they had 2 terrible accidents or incidents happen there where a lot of people died. Children died, elderly people died. It is a mess. It is politically a mess. And they have done, basically the inaction on this is the same as what we had with the Republicans here, with this Obamacare, when they ran around for 8 years and they said, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. And then in the end, it came to 4 votes on 4 different versions of this repeal, and nothing got done. And this is something that most people are fed up with. And this is why President Trump is signing all these executive orders. Now, in Germany, you cannot do this because the political system works differently, and the chancellor does not have the same kind of power the president here of the United States has. But all these executive orders are very limited in power because they can be challenged in court because, the system stands on three legs, basically. So the judicial system will have to now evaluate these actions the executive branch took with these executive orders and see if they are within the law and within the Constitution. That's the checks and balances in there. But on the outward appearance, you have now a strong leader. You have someone who's taking action, and they're at least trying to do something. And that is the important thing. If this gamble worked, I would say we may see the CDU around 28 to 30%, and the AFD somewhere between 19 to 23. I would give that a lead somewhere around there. And eventually, both of these parties, the AFD and the CDU, are going to come both together over 50% in the next election. The demonstrations we saw today in Germany, mostly from the left, people screaming around, that's typical. They have always protested ever since I remember that. And it was really the whole thing of the Green movement came about in the late 70s with these Easter marches, for peace and that kind of stuff. These protests against the extension of the runway in Frankfurt Airport, and God knows what else there was back then. There was a lot of political upheaval, and it was the left wing primarily. The right wing, the center right, will not protest like this. They are more quiet. They protest with when they vote. That's when they make their voices heard. So I have to applaud Friedrich Merz, Freddy, that he took the action he did take. I do not think that he crossed the red line there, because I don't like to chastise a party, because you're making that chastised party then more powerful what it actually is. You cannot reason with Democrats or the German left about this because they don't understand it. They think they have to chastise someone in order to get it done their way, to get them out if they're a threat to them. In this case, here we got Trump now, and in the next 3 weeks here, when the election comes, we will have probably the majority between two parties is going to be between the AFD and the CDU-CSU. This is my prediction in this, and it is interesting to see on how this all has developed. The split came not because a party is trying to divide the nation. The split comes from one party or two parties taking action which a bigger part of the population does not agree with. That's how these splits occur, when it gets too far for comfort for them. And that is something most people don't understand either side. If it is on the right, if it is too far on the right and they take actions on the right, the left will be uncomfortable. If the left starts taking actions, the right will be uncomfortable if it goes too far to the left. So it always depends, which side takes the action to go in and out, and then trying to get this back in a balance. With that, you have a great evening.